You have read the books, Atomic Habits, Deep Work, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Think and Grow Rich. You know the ideas. You can explain habits, discipline, mindset, dopamine, focus, routines, and consistency better than most people. And yet, your life looks exactly the same. You still wake up late. You still delay hard work. You still promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. If this sounds familiar, this video is not here to motivate you. It is here to expose something uncomfortable. Because the real problem is not that you lack knowledge. The real problem is that knowledge itself has become your comfort zone. Most people believe self-help fails because they are lazy, undisciplined, or broken. That is not true. Self-help fails because it works too well on the wrong part of your brain. When you read a productivity book or watch a motivational video, your brain feels progress without effort. You feel smarter, clearer, more hopeful. You feel like change has already started, even though nothing in your life has actually changed. Your habits stay the same. Your environment stays the same. Only your thoughts feel better. And that feeling is dangerous. Your brain does not clearly distinguish between learning about change and actually changing. When you read about habits or discipline, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to reward and progress. This is why reading James Clear or Cal Newport feels so satisfying. You feel like you are improving before you have done anything hard. Over time, this creates a hidden addiction. You are not addicted to growth. You are addicted to the feeling of growth. And that feeling is cheap. It costs no discomfort, no risk, no failure. Just pages and highlights. This is where most people get stuck. They believe they are working on themselves, but they are only preparing to work on themselves. Preparation becomes a place to hide. Reading feels productive, but it protects you from the one thing that actually changes life: uncomfortable action. And here is the darker truth. Reading another self-help book feels safer than waking up early. It feels safer than sitting alone with hard work. It feels safer than failing publicly or privately. Your brain prefers safe over effective every single time. There is also an identity problem hiding underneath this habit. As long as you read about discipline, you can believe you are a disciplined person. The moment you try to act and fail, that belief cracks. Books protect your self-image. Action challenges it. That is why your brain keeps pushing you back to learning instead of doing. You highlight quotes, save ideas, share wisdom online, but deep down you feel stuck. And that creates quiet shame. You start thinking you need a better system, a better book, or better motivation. But the truth is simpler and harder. You already know enough. What you lack is proof. And proof only comes from action. The more self-help you consume, the wider the gap becomes between who you are and who you think you should be. That gap hurts. And instead of closing it with action, most people try to soothe the pain with more information. They buy another book, watch another summary, listen to another podcast. Learning becomes emotional relief instead of transformation. This is how knowledge quietly turns into a prison. Self-help teaches ideas faster than your identity can change. You can understand a powerful concept in 10 minutes. You can read about identity-based habits in one evening. But identity only changes through repeated behavior over time. That mismatch creates tension. You know what to do, but you are not doing it. So your brain looks for escape. That escape is clarity. More frameworks, more theories, more systems. But clarity is no longer the problem. Execution is. Execution feels boring, slow, and messy. There is no dopamine rush from doing the same hard thing every day. No insight, no excitement, just repetition. That is why most people quit right here. Repetition does not feel like progress, but repetition is the only thing that rewires behavior. Your life does not change when you understand something. It changes when you repeat something long enough for your brain to accept it. This is also why intelligent people struggle the most with self-help. Smart people consume more ideas, they analyze deeply, they wait for certainty. But certainty does not come from reading another chapter, it comes from doing and surviving failure. That is the real fear, not laziness, not lack of motivation. Fear of seeing proof that you are not who you want to be yet. Reading protects you from that truth. As long as you are learning, you can tell yourself you are working on it. No one can argue with that, not even you. But time keeps passing, months turn into years. The shelf fills with books, but results stay the same. Eventually, frustration replaces hope. You start blaming self-help itself. You say none of this works, but the problem was never the books. The problem was the order. You tried to fix a real-world problem with thinking alone. That is like trying to build a house by staring at blueprints. The brain learns through feedback, not ideas. Feedback only comes from action. Without action, learning fades. With action, even small learning sticks. This is the moment where everything must flip. If reading is part of the problem, does that mean books are useless? No. It means you use them in the wrong order. Most people read first and hope action follows. That order fails. Action must come first. Reading should support behavior, not replace it. Instead of reading Atomic Habits to become disciplined, start one small habit first, then read to improve it. That single change turns books from escape into tools. Another shift matters even more. Stop reading for inspiration, read for friction. Inspiration feels good. Friction feels useful. A good book should challenge something you already do. It should force adjustment. If nothing in your day changes after reading, it was entertainment, not growth. Growth feels awkward. Growth creates resistance. That resistance is the signal that something real is happening. Follow this simple rule. One idea, one action, 7 days. If you cannot name one behavior you will repeat for a week, stop reading. You do not need more information. You need integration. Integration is where most people fail because it is slow and boring. But boring is where change lives. Identity is built the same way. Stop seeing yourself as someone who is learning to improve. See yourself as someone who practices improvement. Learners consume. Practitioners repeat. Practitioners fail. Learners stay comfortable. The moment you define yourself as someone who practices, your behavior demands proof. You do not need a full plan before you start. Clarity comes after action, not before. You must act while confused. Confidence is earned through motion. One walk, one page written, one task started badly. Small actions weaken overthinking and create feedback. Feedback creates real learning. Finally, ask yourself one honest question. Is your consumption higher than your output? If yes, you are hiding. Growth requires imbalance. More doing than learning. More producing than consuming. Fix one behavior instead of 10 problems. Fixing one thing builds trust with yourself, and trust matters more than motivation. You do not need another book to change your life. You need fewer ideas and more repetition. The next time you feel the urge to buy another self-help book, pause and ask, what am I avoiding doing right now? Then do that, even badly, especially badly. That is how readers become doers, not by learning more, but by acting sooner and staying longer than comfort allows. That is where real growth lives, not on the page, but in practice.